Welcome everyone to our Tuesday night chat. This is the Coinda Community Connections at My Self-Reliance. I'm Kelly Wilkins, your host, and here we are every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. New South Wales time, and we always have sharing beautiful topics of self-reliance with our community, guest speakers who have lots of great knowledge. And tonight I have the beautiful Amy with us. Hi, Amy.
Hello, Kelly. Hello.
So good to have you here.
Oh,
and we're going to be talking all about water, so essential to everyone living. We all need water to survive each day. But before we jump into that, I will share with you all some great things that are coming up at My Self-Reliance. We have the last in the series of the secret formula to plentiful plants, how to grow trees in the fastest time with the most amount of fruit or bountiful vegetables, whatever you want to grow, using Yana's secret formula. So she is absolutely spectacular to watch and to listen to. You will absolutely love her. Last of the series is on the 23rd of June. It's a Friday night. It starts at 7:30 p.m. Goes for about 2 hours, and she just jam packs that with lots of info. Hilarious lady, just blow your hair back, entertainment. You just will absolutely love it. And then in July, we jump into 2 weeks of the summit, the My Self-Reliance Summit, starting on the 17th of July, right through to the 28th of July, Monday to Friday, one at 12 p.m., a speaker at 8 p.m. every day, those 2 weeks, covering all different topics. Now, the tickets are on sale. You can pick up a ticket, an early bird special before the end of the month, for $58. You might also like to upgrade and get a VIP to pass to the after party, and that's an in-person event. Everything else is online, and the after party in person will include food and drinks, the whole thing's catered, and goodie bags as well. So it's really be lots of fun. What else? If you are watching this and you want to learn how to speak like our amazing speakers, I actually have a free 1 hour pass to anyone who's interested to come along on a Monday from 9:30 a.m. till 10:30 with a speaker coach extraordinaire, Sarah Bowling. If you want to learn how to speak to audiences, it's open to anyone. To you just need to get the link from me, so reach out. I'll email you with that link and you can jump on for that 1 hour free session. So without further ado, we're going to open up this conversation, and we're going to start off with Amy. Let's want to talk about water. Now, we know that these days, we always know that drinking lots of water is really important.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's start there. For anyone who's like, a lot of people are like, well, I don't like drinking water. Why is water so essential?
Yeah, well, it's so true. Can I say first, Kelly, I mean, thank you for having me here, but I also wish I'd heard about the 1 hour free speaker coach before I came on. But I will hit you up for that link for another time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, I think we all know that we have to drink water. We know, good quality water is good for us, but we don't know what that means. And we've got everyone telling us good quality water, and we get different messages from different people. And I suppose there's a lot to learn about water, and that's certainly what I've discovered from my whole kind of starting on the water questioning and looking into. But we are 3/4 water, roughly. So it's a big piece of the health puzzle to get right. It's only one piece of the health puzzle, but it's a big piece. So I think if you can get that piece right, for some people, that can be enough when you're supporting the body to address different things. Not always. Sometimes, well, in a lot of cases, you might need, you know, all range of health issues out there that might need different ways to support the body. But of course, water is very important, and it's a life force for so many things, plants, animals, you know, us. So yeah, I mean, it supports so many functions of the body, and there's so many things that can go wrong if we don't have enough water. And actually, that just reminds me of a book that it's just behind me. Sorry, I'll just grab it. It's called, and I won't be able to say his name. He's a doctor, Bat Mahanji. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But
you hold it back to next to your face, and we'll be able to see. There you go.
There
Perfect.
You go. Can you see that? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. It's
perfect.
It's called "You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty," and don't treat thirst with medication. So it's he talks about your body's many cries for water, and it's a fascinating book. This book actually isn't talking about what I'm specifically going to talk about in a later stage, which is ionized water. However, he's just talking about how water is such an important function for us anyway. So I mean, I've got the book, I've got a couple of copies if anyone would ever like to borrow it, you're more than welcome. But yeah, so it's essential for us, and it's a fascinating read too, to see how water can actually just play such a big part in addressing so many things that people wouldn't have thought possible.
Now, the problem with that we have these days is as you say, a source of good quality water is hard to come by, because we thought we were taught maybe 30 years ago the best source of quality water is to buy it. Go buy it off the shelf. Now we know that we've seen some tests done more recently on bought water. So tell us about some of the things that people are finding in sources of water and why it's so hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many options out there for water, and we're marketed to very cleverly, and it's hard to see the wood for the trees in what actually is going to be the really good quality water. And sometimes the water isn't necessarily bad that we're going to buy off the shelf, but it's also not going to be the best quality water for your body. So I suppose to come back to that in a second, but rainwater used to be something that people would say, that's the best water that you can drink. And, maybe 50 years ago, it was pretty good. But then when I've tested with my pH drops, different liquids, including rainwater, it's acidic. And that, for probably all of us on this call would know, with all the pollution, the toxic soup that we pretty well live in, and, whatever gets put into the sky, it all has to come back down. And so our rainwater is not what it used to be. Doesn't mean it can't be drunk, yeah, that's a really good point, Andrew. I was going to get to that, absolutely. But
about plastic bottles, that is. Yeah.
Yes, that is terrible for our health. The fact that it sits in there, because water is a solvent and a scavenger. So sitting in those plastic bottles for goodness knows how long, when it first gets bottled until the consumer purchases it off the shelf in the supermarket, how long has it been sitting in transit, on a tarmac in the sun? You get sun on plastic, and the longer the water's in that bottle, it can be leaching some of those things in the plastic into the water, and then we consume the water. I mean, bottled water in itself is such a minefield, because it's largely unregulated as an industry, and you can go to the shelf of a supermarket and see so many different types of water. And when we test those different waters, a lot of them largely have just been put through reverse osmosis. So, you plant a spring on the label, or something like a waterfall, and everyone thinks, oh, well, that's the one to get, that looks like a good one. But actually, a lot of them are quite acidic, a lot of bottled waters, not all of them. So yeah, so often, and then you've got alkaline water, which I know is marketed quite well. Ionized water is not alkaline water, but alkaline water is simply adding minerals to bring up the pH. And you can take any source water, and largely, who knows where they get the water from in a lot of these bottled waters on the shelves. And how clean is it? You know, has it gone through a filtering process? I would say it would have to, but then who really knows? It is unregulated, as I've said, and maybe a lot of the time it is just reverse osmosis or, you know, filtered of some description. But you know, if they want to call it alkaline, then they'll just add minerals to it. And but again, we don't know the source water and what that's like. And I suppose the other thing to think of, and I'm going off on a tangent slightly, but to have high quality drinking water, it is important to filter your water. And I guess bottled water has been filtered, but you know, bottled water isn't great for all the reasons that we've mentioned. But if we move on to the filtering for a second, you know, that in itself is a whole area to try to get your head around, because there are so many different types of filters. Again, you know, having clean water is good and it is important. And filtered water is always going to be better than tap water. However, you can clean your water too much. So if, like reverse osmosis, it's got a lot better in recent years, but to take out all the bad stuff, you also have to take out the good stuff. And by that, I mean the minerals. So we have naturally occurring minerals in water, and that's what our body needs. And when you take those minerals out, then you're left with largely acidic water. So reverse osmosis would take all the bad stuff out, you know, the heavy metals and the fluoride, but to take that out, you have to take out all the minerals too, because they can just be such tiny little components in the water. So there is more sophisticated reverse osmosis now where, yeah, they're putting minerals back in. For me, I don't really like that idea. I don't want to mess with the minerals that are in the water. Alkaline water itself is, as I mentioned, just putting chemicals into the water to raise the pH. But without getting into too much of that detail, that can potentially not be good for us, because those minerals can deposit in our organs, you know, over time. And there's other ways to get good water. So personally, I don't think alkaline water is such a good idea. I know that some people might put the bicarb of soda on. Not saying no one do that, not at all. It's, you know, it's what you're finding, you know, resonates and for you and what works. But as a concept of alkaline water, I think it can be potentially harmful. So going way off topic there. I don't know if that's, you know, I went off on a tangent, Kelly, but.
Well, let's explain some of those concepts, because and did you want to share some slides on that as well, just to clarify some of the things that you're saying? You know, let's talk about some of those terms: alkaline water, acidic water, and then ionized water. Let's cover those three and explain so that people understand what that means and how that affects the body.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, Kelly, I was just trying to find the presentation. So I didn't make this presentation for this chat.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen this presentation for a little while. I don't know that I've got the bottled waters on here, but can you repeat your question, please? It was about the acidic, the ionized, and the filtered. Is that?
Yeah, the difference between acidic water, alkaline water, and ionized water. So just explaining that terminology and how that affects the body.
Yeah, sure. So you guys are probably all familiar with the pH chart, which has, I've actually got pH chart here. I'll just, am I screen sharing? Yes. Why is that not going down? Let me,
yeah, you'd find your little arrow across, I think, is if you.
On the menu bar? Or just you mean on my keyboard?
Yes.
Yeah, it worked before. Oh, there we go. Now I'll just go straight to the pH chart. Here it is. On the pH chart, as potential of hydrogen chart, you have on the left side the colours from 0 to 6 as acidic, 7 is neutral, and then on the right side from 8 to 14 is alkaline. So all liquids have a pH level, and really what we're looking at with any acidic liquids, or even, you know, food can have an acidifying effect on our body or more of an alkalizing effect on our body. as well. But what we want to move away from is anything that's acidic, because our bodies live in such a toxic soup. Really, our bodies are constantly trying to find balance, and with all the toxins that come in, they're also creating more acidity in our body, and that's not good, because that is where inflammation, oxidation and inflammation, and therefore disease thrives. So we want to move more into balance and get more towards the alkaline side, which is on the right hand side there. So acidic water would be something, for example, as I said, rainwater now is quite acidic because of all the pollution in the air. So then also certain bottled waters that I've tested, I've seen can be acidic. Not all of them, but they can be acidic. And then, so the ionized water, for example, Kelly, sorry, it was the acidic, the ionized. What was the third one that you asked me?
No, you covered it. The acidic, the alkaline, and the ionized.
Oh, right, yeah. And of course, alkaline water is simply like, for example, even tap water is mandated to be around 7, maybe slightly alkaline. And as we know, tap water has so many things in it. It has chlorine in it, which, you know, it's required to kill certain things in the water, but that doesn't mean that it's good for us to ingest. Even though it may not be massive amounts of chlorine in every single glass, but it, you know, over time, it all makes a difference. It's not good for our bodies. It's not good for us. So yeah, there's all sorts of things. There's fluoride in the water, you know, pollution that comes down and settles there. Who knows what, you know, sediments, could be pharmaceuticals, different things. So really the government has mandated that it be 7 or slightly alkaline, and to get it to that state, they have to put lye in it. And LYE, lye, is a very alkaline, I don't know exactly what it is, some sort of substance, and that then brings up what is very acidic water because of the chlorine, fluoride, etc., to this sort of, you know, 7 around their state. So that's a great, even though that's not alkaline water as such, it's the same principle. You know, it doesn't mean the source water is clean. It doesn't mean it's good for us either. It's just simple chemistry. So the difference between that and ionized water is not alkaline water. It does not have any minerals added to it at all, but it's actually created via an electrolysis process. So water will go through a filter, then it goes through a number of plates to create 3 properties in water that aren't found in any other waters. And what they are, it's got a very high antioxidant level, because the electrolysis process is actually splitting the water into what is alkalized and then what is acidic. So it's separating.
Do you have a photo of that machine that we can look at?
I do somewhere. Oh, there we go. So you can't see the lower pipe, but there's a secondary pipe there, and it will split the water coming out the pipe you can see, and another pipe on the bottom. And the antioxidants are created because when the water is split like that, after going through the electrolysis, it restructures the water. So it's actually creating a molecular hydrogen, which is effectively a gas, and that has this very high antioxidant level. It also naturally creates a higher pH because it's splitting the water and separating out the acidic from the alkalized. It's alkalized water, it's not alkaline. And then the third property is the way it's restructured the water, so it actually creates the water into arrangements of smaller molecules, so it can be more absorbed into our cells far more easily. So you'll notice when you drink this water that it's actually easier to drink. It's easier to drink more of it, and it doesn't sit in your stomach. And that's because it hydrates us so much more effectively. And that's really important because then we detox more effectively. And when we're hydrated, we're actually supporting so many things in the body so that the body can do what it needs to do. It helps it to find balance. And yeah, they're the 3 properties. So that's ionized water.
I love that because, you know, like most people can't drink water easily. You know, you can down a can of soft drink faster than you can the same size water, because waters actually can be difficult to drink. And
Yes.
that's because of the reasons you just said. So, and when you can drink more water and it actually absorbs into your body rather than sitting in your stomach and feel like a slosh of a waterbed carrying around, you know, that puts you off. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that, you know, big amount of water that you might drink and then quickly cross the road, and you can, like you said, Kelly, just feel it, you know, bouncing about in your stomach. And you don't get that with water when you know, it gets absorbed way more easily. And there's a whole you know, science around how that's getting absorbed into the aquaporin in our cells. We have them in each of our cells, and what that process is. So I don't know if it's pertinent to note here at this point, but this device, it's probably a little confusing on the screen, but I feel I should probably
clarify.
Yeah. So this device, it is a Japanese certified medical grade device. It is made in Japan. They make all of the parts. It's in a medical grade facility, and it doesn't just have the drinking waters, but what you can see on the screen are the other waters that it produces. So you've got a neutral pH, 7 pH water, because it's based upon the pH scale, of course, even though it's creating alkalized water, not alkaline. And of course, that works totally differently in the body. There's a beauty water. Our hair and skin is slightly acidic, so there's different protocols for using these waters to treat, well, dare I say, support helping dandruff or issues with the scalp. The strong acidic water, it's a 2.5 pH there, but it's actually hypochlorous acid that's being created. That's a very powerful sanitizer and disinfectant, and that is a third more powerful than bleach, but without the chemicals. That's got a saltwater solution that goes through the machine when you use that particular button to create the hypochlorous acid. But conversely, you've got the 11.5 water up the top, the strong Kangen water there. And because that's so far along on the alkaline side, it's got like a greasy feel to it. And that's what we use to soak our fruit and vegetables in, so it can remove all the pesticides, herbicides, and there's lab reports on how much it can take off. But you guys probably are aware, but all of our pesticides and herbicides are oil-based, so they don't come off in the rain. So you don't get them removed by washing them in tap water. So that's what that can do. There's so, I mean, I won't go into it now, but there's so many uses for all of these waters, not just the drinking waters, but we're talking about the drinking ones. But anyway, that's the slide why it's got some examples of some of the other waters there.
Well, it's so good because it you know, we look for other products with particular chemicals in it so that we can get that strong acidic effect. Yeah. And here is water doing that, you know.
I know, it's hard to believe. I mean, I didn't believe it when I first heard it. And this product actually started off as a commercial product in Japan, and it was in hospitals there. So they use it, of course, to give patients for their drinking water, but also the 2.5 hypochlorous acid water you can apply to topically for different skin issues like psoriasis, eczema. You know, you can soak your feet in it for people that have tinea or fungus issues. There's so many uses, and I've seen it do amazing things. So yeah, I mean, it's really quite amazing. And what they do in Japan, in the hospitals that they have these devices, the commercial ones, this is what they clean their equipment with, you know, rather than chemicals. The 2.5 hypochlorous acid water, I should say.
It's so good because you think about the fountain of youth is water. And here you've got this machine who can really create that fountain of youth. So good for your skin and your hair and your, you know, your health and your body. And I've actually tried this machine and I fell in love with it. And all the amazing things that it can do. So yeah.
And to your point, Kelly, I mean, it's so true. I mean, I can't make any medical claims, and I won't do that on this, and I won't say it's going to make, you know, everyone shave off 10 years. However, you're so right, because anti-aging, when we look after our bodies, is us looking after our bodies, supporting them. So when you're hydrated, you know, it reflects in your skin. For me, personal experience. It doesn't mean it will happen for everyone, but you know, some of the fine lines filled out a little. Subtle, not all of them. I've still got them across the forehead, unfortunately, but you know, some of them filled out. And I mean, it transformed my health, which is how I got into it in the way that I did. And I experienced a lot of benefits. That was one of them. But I mean, I think when you feel better as well, that's such a gift in itself. And obviously the skin lines filling out a little, that's a bonus. But because you can use these waters for so many things, for me, I want to reduce chemicals in my home if I can, and this way I don't have to buy chemicals to clean. I've done a bit of house sitting in recent years, and one house that I stayed at, of course I take my ionizer with me, and when I was leaving and thoroughly trying to clean the house, I actually hadn't used the waters to clean a bathroom, and I thought, oh, I'm going to give it a go. Anyway, I used the 2.5 and the 11.5 waters. One is the sanitizer, the other one is a bit like the degreaser. So that I used on the shower doors, you know, still around the bench top, and then I could spray with the sanitizer. But after I left, the wife that came home, she just said, oh my gosh, Amy, what have you done to the bathroom? She said, I've never seen it look so sparkling. And I thought, actually, it did look quite good. But yeah, she said the whole time she's been there, it never looked that good. So it all seems so hard to believe, but I've tried this on different things. And if you soak in a bucket of 11.5, you know, your greasy air vent above your stovetop, you know, soak it in there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, amazing the difference that makes. Anyway, I'm trying not to rave on. I have a habit of doing it, so.
Yeah. But it's, you know, like it's, I don't know if there's any other slides in this presentation that we should talk to, but the point is that how can you not improve your health? How can you not feel better when you're giving your body what it really is? You know, we're made up of water. And
Yeah.
when you feed your body, create the right environment, of course, it's going to flourish.
Absolutely.
Right? And so really, that's what it's all about. Give the body the right environment, and it will kill the diseases and the bacterias and the viruses in our system, you know, in our immune system. And as you say, we're not making any medical claims, but it's just sensible, really.
Well, yeah, and you know, your point is our bodies are really powerful, and when we give our bodies what they need, it's extraordinary what they can come back from. And I'm not allowed to say any personal testimonies, which is extraordinary, but I have so many. I mean, I have so many, and what I've seen from people who drink this water, and simply because it's supporting their body, the many and varied things that people have had complete transformations in. And look, it can take time. It can take a year. It can take 18 months. For some people, it can take a couple of weeks. For others, they might, you know, drink it for a month and not notice any difference, but that's normal too. You know, that's, you know, like eating healthily, it's still doing you good. It's just sometimes it's more obvious to other people and more obvious sooner. But yeah, you support your body, and our bodies are powerful. So to go to the point that you made about the slides, I'm sorry to flick through this so quickly as you guys are all watching the slide, but this is what I was going to get to, is we've already touched on, you know, the need for, you know, supporting our bodies more, because people are becoming less healthy. You know, we've never had so many, dare I say, pills and all sorts of things that could help us. And yes, they can be absolutely life-saving. But actually, you know, when you look at the public health data in a number of Western countries, we've never been more sick, which aligns with when a lot of these things have also been introduced. So yeah, illnesses are on the rise, and also we're not absorbing things nearly as well. There's so many things I guess we could go into on that slide, but it's
yeah, it's all about absorption, right? And even water is, we were saying before, very hard for the body to absorb if it doesn't have the right electrolytes or the right can't remember the word that I used before now, antioxidants,
and different people have different issues that they're going to need to help with that absorption. And yeah, that's right. There's just a lot of stuff going on for people, and some of the simple stuff seems too easy, but actually can be very beneficial. So whether it be, just drinking your high quality water, or, going outside and grounding, or, being in the sun and getting vitamin D, just some of those simple things can be so beneficial for people, and changing your stress levels. But yeah, so people are sort of getting sicker and sometimes we're making it worse. How we treat it.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the point, is we can have, there's certain things we have control over, and but to this point, finding good high quality water is actually very hard to do. And and understanding how, even if you're filtering your water, how often do you have to change those filters? But because even you think you're drinking filtered water, but maybe it's been there too long and now it's backwashing and you're drinking more rubbish than you need to. So I don't know, maybe we can, if there's anyone in the room who would like to ask any questions, we'll open it up. But I love talking about health. I love talking about the body. I love talking about the 2% shift that we can make that makes the difference. But I think something like the Kangen ionizer really is like, I'm going to say this 70% shift is like, what is one thing that can make the biggest difference? Is like, yeah. Any questions from anyone who's?
Yeah, I've got some questions.
Yeah, go for it, Anthony.
I hadn't heard of the Kangen 8. I'd sort of done a bit of Googling a little while ago. I was wanting to get a system sort of for my house. I just saw online there from $3,200 to like almost $6,000. So is there different types of Kangen 8 as such? And do they go into your house, or are they a mobile kind of unit?
Yeah.
Thanks for asking. Good questions.
Yeah, they are. And one thing I'll say is that Andrew, or is
Anthony?
Anthony. Sorry, Anthony, I can't see your name on my screen. And I was going to say, Anthony, just to your point about Googling, which is good that you did, because you're trying to find the info. But if you do Google on this, I just warn you, as we know, like Google is full of misinformation and largely people that might know a little but not a lot. So I would highly recommend, if you decide that you want some more information about this, PubMed has a lot of scientific studies that show you tell you more about the water, and also Google Scholar, whereas Google itself is a minefield, and so many people refer to it as alkaline water, and that's totally not how this device works. Alkaline water is, you just add minerals.
Well, I did too. I think I referred to it like that, so I apologize.
Oh no, that's okay. And I think sometimes people innocently, because the pH scale has alkaline on one side and acidic on the other, they're referring more to the concept of, it's not acidic, but but when you get into the technicalities of the science and how it impacts the body, it's totally different. But anyway, that's not what you're asking, Anthony, but sorry, I just thought I'd caveat that, because that can be horrifying to see what's on Google. So I can always send info, or they'd be the places that I'd recommend you to have a look. But yeah, to your point, on the website that you're looking at, that's exactly right. So the devices, there are a range of devices, and they are, I guess we call it a plug and play system. So even I can do it. You don't need a plumber. You can just attach it to a sink. It's a device that will sit on a bench top, attach it to your tap. You can still use your tap as normal, but there's a diverter on it. So when you'd like to use water from the machine, it will divert the water into the machine, and it will come out the machine. And you can take it with you, should you move, or, if you're going on holidays, anything like that. And the difference for the price range, I mean, this is not like buying a water filter. It is an investment in health. And having said that, it is a Japanese certified medical grade device. It will last 30 years if it's maintained and looked after, which is very easy to do. So really, over time, it's there's a lot more value than you get when you first hear the price. You know, it will last for a long time, and it.
Amy, do you have a slide with the various options?
I don't on here. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So, but what's the lowest price point?
The lowest one, they just got rid of what was the 2,500 machine. And the lowest one is actually, I think the machine they took away meant the next one was, I think, 4,300.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it is a layout of funds initially, but there are payment plans, there's finance, and the company's really passionate about really helping people who would like to have this, you know, in their life, so they can be accommodating of different people's circumstances if that is needed as well, which is pretty amazing of them. But yeah, so there's, I mean, these devices.
The funny thing is, I got invited to a wedding in America, and I considered the wedding in America versus the Kangen, and the trip to America was going to be about 4,000. So I'm like, I think I'll hang on to something that I can keep for 30 years for the same amount of money.
And I think that's the thing when I know that's right, and I suppose when people realize the value, it doesn't seem as scary. But, you know, we do spend more on our car in a year than we do on our health. And, you know, when we support our body, we can save money on preventative type things. So I guess it's weighing all of that up, isn't it? And it's got to be right for the individual. But yeah, the importance of let me rephrase. Anthony, you're asking about the prices. So the difference between the machines and their prices is to do with the plates. And the plates are important because they're part of the electrolysis process. And the cheaper machines have less plates. So I think the cheapest one has 4 plates, and the K8, which is the top of the range, has 8 plates. And that means when the water goes over the plates, that's creating the charge of the water. So the more plates, the higher the antioxidant value. So as an example, I don't have it in these slides, but there is an ORP is how we refer to oxidation reduction potential, which is an antioxidant level. And anything that is an antioxidant is good for us. Anything that's oxidizing is bad for us. That's where disease thrives. So we want things that are antioxidants. Green tea has about a -80 ORP rating, which we know green tea is good for us, and we know it's a good thing to drink. So with our devices, in 1 cup of water, you can get anywhere from -400 to -800 in that 1 cup. And it's really powerful. I mean, that's only going in your body where it's needed. It's restructured, you know, molecular hydrogen. So effectively what it's doing is it's got molecules which have an extra electron, and free radicals in our body that's causing the oxidation are missing an electron. So by drinking this water, it's donating electrons to those free radicals, thereby neutralizing them. And, you know, it's a gas. You can't have too much of this. You can't get alkalosis and be too alkalized. There's no negative impact to the body. It will only go where it's needed. Whereas if you're to have too much, say, I don't know, vitamin C, for example, I mean, that's water soluble, it will come out in the toilet, but that can have a laxative effect if someone has too much vitamin C. You know, the ionized water with the antioxidant value doesn't have any of those impacts to the body. So sorry, it's probably way too much information.
No, thanks for explaining that with all the plates. That's excellent. Did that answer your question, Anthony?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think for me, my biggest issue is I'm just feeling like I could drink 3 litres of water a day and I still feel dehydrated. So it kind of,
Yes.
you've sort of explained it in what you've been saying. And I've had this for a long time, you know, like 15, 20 years, I've felt like that, you know. I'm an active person, and then
Yeah.
the challenge of that is then I spend half the night having to go to the toilet as well, you know. My
Yeah.
body's trying to offload it, but not absorbing. That's what it feels like.
Exactly. And I completely relate. I had this as well, but also I speak to so many people who are saying exactly what you're saying. I think it's pretty common. And I know that a kinesiologist friend of mine, she would suggest to people maybe put a bit of, what's the pink salt? I've got
Himalayan.
yes, put like a bit, don't quote me on how much, don't you need to check with someone like that. But she said that could help. However, that didn't help me. And
No.
I've never had it since drinking this water, is what one of the other things, one of the many that's happened for me. But yeah, it's a pretty common problem I hear from people.
Yeah, right.
Now,
yeah.
Andrew asked a question, if you're good with that, Anthony, about the actual flow. So we're talking about there is the in hose and then there's the outflow. So how do you make the most? Because I know Emma and Andrew, and I know Emma doesn't like to waste anything. She'll even at 5 a.m. get into a freezing cold shower and wash in the freezing cold because she doesn't want to waste the water while it warms up. Huh.
Oh, what a girl.
Yeah. So tell us about how you could use both the water, like, without wasting.
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually there are so many uses for the water. So the water that's coming out the top pipe, your drinking waters, will create wastewater out the bottom pipe, which I collect. I've been a little bit slack lately, sorry Emma, but particularly in summer, I have a little hose that I will put on the bottom hose and just connect it into like a Bunnings, 20-litre bucket. And you can use it for all sorts of things. It could be cleaning your verandas, your windows, floors in your house. You might want to put it on the garden. But one thing to note is when you've got, say, for example, you're drinking the 9 pH water out the top pipe, the bottom pipe has to equal, when you add up the top pipe, 14, like on the pH scale. So if you've got 9 coming out the top, then out the bottom, you're going to be getting 5. So that's the pH of 5. So some plants like a bit more alkaline water on that scale. Some prefer a bit more acidic. So you might want to pick and choose. To be honest, I just put it all over the garden. I just kept using it to water the garden. But there's so many things. I've actually got something that I send people with all the uses, so that they've got some options, to use it. But yeah, there's heaps of uses. But also remembering it is the wastewater. It's acidic, so you wouldn't want to drink it or anything like that. But you could just use it for these other things.
Yeah, because we're always cleaning every day. As much as we're drinking, we're cleaning.
I try not to do the cleaning bit so much, Kelly.
So yeah, so I guess then it have a cheat sheet. Do you probably have a cheat sheet that you could?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And I mean, I've got documents I can give people. There's booklets that a doctor, she's also a naturopath, had put together protocols to use the water for different things, health issues. It's probably not the right term for it, but for scalp issues, fungus on the toes, issues with the skin. She's made all these protocols to use the waters. I've got another booklet that she also created, which is how to use the waters for all these different ways of cleaning in the house. So you can get rid of your chemicals, save money on buying all those chemical products. And I've got all those things I can send people. So when they do the water trial, I offer a free no obligation trial of the water, so people can get just a sense of it for themselves and just learn a bit more. But I send that to them so they can, implement it, or they just get an idea of how it can be used.
Any other slides in this deck that you want to skim through?
I mean, as I mentioned, Anthony, if you if anyone would like some information, I'm more than happy to send it. I'm so passionate about this water because it transformed my health, but you'll never, you know, please don't, there's no obligation, there's never any push. But if you do want to understand a bit more about it, I can send you the accurate information, because as I said, Google is a minefield. Another place to search though is PubMed, as I mentioned, or Google Scholar. And I think the thing is that once you understand accurately how this works, then when you go to Google, you can critique it, and you can, you know, more accurately, and you can know, you know, they're not terming it properly or whatever. But before you understand how the device works, it's hard to discern what is accurate information or not. Just going through these slides to
I think
see.
you've explained it beautifully though. So you've made it really clear and simple to understand. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, it's it's such a big topic, and when you've got all the info in your head, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. But I appreciate we're coming up to the time, but probably one thing that I might just point out is to have really high quality water to support your body, there's 2 steps. And the first step is to clean it. So, you know, people can drink tap water if they want to, but at least if you're filtering it, that's going to be better than drinking tap water. However, the second step to getting the high quality water is ionizing it. So cleaning it first, then you're ionizing it, because you're getting those 3 really powerful properties that really support the body, and no minerals added. So there's no negative impacts from it. And the proof is absolutely in the pudding when people try it for themselves when they drink it. But yeah, I just think it's important to note those 2 steps, because the ionizer does have a filter in it. Some people want to filter more. That's a different discussion, because there's different ways that you can do that. However, yeah, ionizer really is the powerful part of creating that really high quality water. So maybe just to encapsulate it in those 2 steps might be helpful as well.
So, and just as we finish off then, I know Amy won't say it, but I will say it, and I don't know if you want to share screen or stop screen, but that, oh yeah, look at all this. I love this information about body and how it works and what we need.
I love it as well. I know, voltage, because this is restructuring the water. It's, well, you know, it's structured water. So it's, anyway, it just talks about building healthy cells. When you're neutralizing free radicals, you know, that has so much benefit, but our cells replicate in the cell that they've come from. So if you've got an unhealthy cell, you know, it's missing electrons, the next cell that's going to be created is going to miss electrons. But you need a certain amount of voltage in your cells to create the new cells, new healthy cells. And, you know, that's what restructured water can help do. And this just talks about, you know, voltage in cells of cancer patients compared to the voltage in cells of healthy cells. Anyway, that's too much to get into now when we're supposed to be wrapping up. But yeah, there's so much to this. There's so much that people can learn. I mean, there's the science itself. There's so many experiments that I can send. They've done a thermomed imaging testing after someone who had a toothache, drank the water. They did another image afterwards, and it shows the reduction in the inflammation. There's looking at it under live blood analysis after people have drunk coffee and, you know, tap water, and then this water. There's just lots of different experiments. There's lots of testimonies that people have of their own personal experience, and obviously I'm passionate about it because of my personal experience, which I'm not allowed to talk about. But there's just so much information. So I won't go into any more now, but happy to share anything if anyone wanted to.
Yeah, look, I'd be delighted if I could get some information.
Yeah, of course, Anthony. If you would just want to either give me or in the chat or Kelly your email, then I can, it's probably easiest to email it.
Right.
And how do people contact you, Amy? Can I do a link in the comments, or?
Yeah, I've got a website.
We love websites.
I need to sort of update the website. Let me just grab it. I mean,
and you can type it in the chat too.
Yeah,
so while you're doing that, I'll say, like, we talked about the price of the machine. But Amy mentioned to me that if we get it to before the end of this month, we'll get it before the price rise. And so there's I know it's not just the Kangen, but I know if anyone's a fan of the Thermomixes, I know the price. It's like what is it called? End of financial year. So then all the prices go up. So that's a little hint to if you're interested. There's a couple of weeks left in the month. Don't delay. That's my plan.
And I think with this company, Enagic, they have never put the price up for 13 years. So it is going up a significant amount as all costs and everything is going up. So yeah, unfortunately that is happening from the 1st of July. Here's my, where's the chat? I'll put my website name. Oh, thanks, Anthony. Great. I've got your email, and I meant to put this to everyone in the meeting. Here we go.
So one thing you talked about was, important to have your minerals in the water. What you're saying with the Kangen is it doesn't remove the good minerals, or it leaves them in?
It leaves the minerals in, yeah.
Yeah. So Amy's website is called www.changeyourwater.
Transformyourlife.com.
Transform your life. Not little at all. Change your water, transformyourlife.com with Amy Bryce. That is
Change your water, change your life was taken, unfortunately, so I just had to extend it a little bit.
Transform your life. That's what we're doing here.
So you can, do a yoga class, or you can, chop up 300 pieces of fruit a day and put it in a smoothie, which actually I have a smoothie every day. I'm not saying one shouldn't do it, but changing water is easy, isn't it? It's just drink a different water. Anyway, I'm raving again. So yeah.
No, beautiful. And great questions. Thanks everyone for being in the room tonight. So good to have your questions, and so good, Amy, to have this conversation. It's long overdue. I know I've had to beg you to come on to the call, and
thank you, Kelly, for having me. It's nice to meet you all, and thank you. I don't like to be seen on Zoom, so but it has been great to be here. I would love chatting about it, just not necessarily on camera. So thank you, everyone.
We have absolutely enjoyed so much this conversation, and all those who are watching on replay. We love that too. It just will keep the gift that keeps on giving. So all right, until we get together again next Tuesday, we actually have Monique from Brainwise Learning, and she's going to come on and teach us all about the auditory processing that happens, especially with our youngsters when they're learning and taking in the information, which is so good for anyone that of any youngsters who are having trouble with that auditory processing. So brilliant.
Great.
Love it. Thanks for being here, and don't forget to get your summit tickets and your secret formula of plentiful plants. It's all happening, and also Jigsaw. So that's on the website as well. So all right, au revoir. Good night.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye.
We'll see ya.
Bye.
See you next time. Welcome to the My Self-Reliance Expo. It is a wet, rainy day in April, but we are having the best time.
We're just doing the chocolate wheel. Actually, no chocolate prizes, but spin the wheel for $1. Win prize up to $50. Fantastic. All benefits going to My Self-Reliance.
And 3. We have taken the best of the speakers that we have on our Coinda Community Connections every Tuesday night, and we brought them all together in this one place where people can experience all the good things that people have been sharing with us about. Ladies, and I have a little gift for you.
I'm Natalie, and I just made these homemade candles just the last couple of days.
It is an absolute winner of the day, despite the rain.
Reporting for Team Kelly here. She does amazing work. Loving it.
This is just the beginning for My Self-Reliance and bringing community together, because we're all about learning, education, workshops, highlighting people's skills and talents so that we can all learn from each other and cooperate in a way that, you know, we maybe haven't seen before. And certainly people who didn't think that they had skills to share are really shining in this space. So we're going to go from the expo. July we'll have a summit, so that'll be 20 speakers over 10 days, and then come spring in October we're actually going to do a 2-day festival. So that will be another opportunity to bring people out to the sunshine and get amongst it and really envelop it all over 2 days. So we're so thrilled that you can be here and enjoy the fun. And if you missed it, we hope that you come again to the next one. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks so much.